Hi, I'm Brian Canone. Thank you again for visiting FitnessAtlantic.com. We're talking about competing in shows and choosing shows that you want to do as a first-time competitor or as somebody that's been doing a couple of them already. Talked about the nervousness of going into a show, finding a show that you feel comfortable, that you feel proud to represent and be part of, and going to see those shows as a spectator before you decide on which show you want to really spend those 12 weeks, those 3, 4, 6 months getting ready for, prepping for, and getting, committing to do. In this video, I'd like to talk a little bit about what each show has to offer. So my experience was I went as a spectator to all the shows that were in my state, and I knew a little bit about what they were about and which show I wanted to do based on my level as a competitor and going in. There was one show, like I said, it was more geared towards novice competitors, so that was one that many people chose to do as their first show. Some people were really good, some people just wanted to jump right in and do a more advanced show, and that's fine. What you want to look at also is each show is run a lot of times by different federations. Those different federations have different criteria of what they're looking for. Back when I was doing shows, the internet wasn't what it is today. You weren't able just to Google it and find out what the show was about and see their website and find out information. Basically, you had a few magazines you could look at. So you had, your Flex magazine would have a list of some shows in there. It was very hard to find out about these other shows, which were held by different federations like the ANBC, the AAU, different things that were going on. So you pretty much had to go by hearsay, what people are saying about shows, going to watch them as a spectator, and then kind of guessing at what that criteria is going to be or how well you're going to fit into it. Nowadays, it's a lot easier. You could definitely go on a website, you could look at the pictures and say, can I get my body to look like the people who won? So that's something to look at and say, do I look similar to the guy that won his class, or is that criteria of what my physique offers sort of fit their judging criteria? Now, nowadays, it's not just about bodybuilding, though. Back then, it was just pretty much you had bodybuilding, you had male bodybuilding, female bodybuilding. That was it. Then you started to have fitness come into place, which started from the aerobic championships. It kind of was a breakaway from that. Nowadays, fitness is, in a way, you gotta say it's kind of fallen off because bikini's coming up, and bikini and figure. Figure is more hardcore than bikini. The women are definitely more muscular physiques than a bikini competitor. And each bikini division of different federations is also different. You're going to find the look of different federations is different, and the criteria is different. The T-walks are different. T-walk is when you come out on stage, what side you're coming from. Are you walking by yourself, or are you just coming out in a line of girls and having comparison posing? So if it's comparison, what that means is you have a line of 15 girls and the judges are moving people around and just taking a look at that line. Or are you coming out on stage individually and walking on stage and doing a T-walk presentation where you walk out to 1X, you walk dead center, you go stage right, stage left, and then off? What are the poses that they want you to do when you're walking on stage? When you stop as a bikini competitor, what are you going to do? At some shows you see, like some federations, the girls stick her leg out, and they turn around, they look over their shoulder. Some are more pageant-like in their walks. Usually they stand a little bit to the side. They have one foot over, like kind of over the other. You want to find out what that is. What does that mean? And sometimes even when you look on the federation's websites, it's still not really detailed. You don't really know. So, with bodybuilding, it was pretty much, we thought it was a little complicated back then. You had these different federations, different looks that they're going for. Some shows went with the really, really thin, ripped, shredded guys, and some shows went for a guy that had more muscle on him. As far as bodybuilding, you could always pretty much know that it's three things. It's your body symmetry. Are you symmetrical? Do your legs match your upper body? Is there a V taper? your condition of your body. Are you really tight and conditioned and defined and all the muscles showing? And how much muscle size do you have? Now, some federations don't always look at the size factor, but it is something that's going to always be considered. So you have your symmetry and your condition are your two main factors, because you can have a guy that's not as big, but he just has a better look, a better body. But each show is going to be a little different, and that's something you would see as you went to different shows each time. You can see, hopefully they're consistent in their judging, where from year to year, you kind of know what look they're going for. With bikini and figure and fitness and all these other different things that are out, fitness model now also, you want to take a look at criteria. You want to look at the federation's criteria. What does that mean? And are they consistent? So you know, because you went to watch these shows, you kind of have a feel for what they're looking for, what they're all about, how to prep yourself to go into that show, and at least know that you've done the right steps to get yourself on stage and be ready for that event of that day. They're not all the same. The shows aren't all run the same. They're very different in the way that they're run. Some people get ready for a season of shows and they just do 5 shows in a row, or they just compete over and over and over and over and over again. I don't know where they get all this entry fee money, but it's something that it's very expensive hobby if that's what you do. Most people eventually decide on which federation they fit the most and they stick with. So you will find that too. Certain competitors sometimes put the organization before their name. You know, they put the NPC or WBFF or some type of federation thing before their name. They feel so, you know, drawn to that federation. Most of the time you'll see that once they turn pro. You know, you'll see that more often. But you want to find which one you're comfortable with, which federation you fit into. But when you're looking at that, you're also going to look at other things too. And we'll talk about that in the next video. Thank you.